Hey folks, this is Kalani. The Horrific Vision system is now available, and I've seen a lot of folks struggling to get the objectives done or clear through the whole vision in a single run, which isn't too surprising. Visions can be quite unforgiving, and there are a lot of moving parts to learn and understand. So in this video, we're going to go over some useful tips and tricks to make progressing through your visions easier, and to make sure you're using everything available to you in a Horrific Vision to clear them faster and more reliably. Now before we jump in, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss another video. First up, one of the best tips I have for you is that when and where you use your sanity orbs can make a huge difference for your runs. Using your orbs does require a short cast time, so don't wait until you are basically out of sanity to start that cast. I remember dying back in the day in BFA because I didn't account for that cast time and died just before the orb went down, so be careful of that. You also can't use your orb in combat, so don't start a fight if you're super low, especially if you aren't very good at dodging the sanity draining abilities. However, you can still benefit from the orb sanity regen while in combat if you put one down before you engage an enemy. So a great way to use your orb is to put it down just before you pull one of the more annoying bosses or mini bosses in your vision run. You'll be regenerating sanity while fighting something, you'll probably end the fight on very high sanity, and you can even ignore some sanity draining abilities if you time this well. It's also just more time efficient, so if you can, always fight something while your orb is down instead of just standing around waiting for your sanity to fill back up. Now the next tip is a pretty big one. Your sanity bar is basically just a timer or time limit on your run, so anything you can do to increase your sanity or decrease the rate at which it drains is going to make your runs so much easier and smoother. What a lot of players don't seem to know is that you get a permanent 10% sanity drain reduction buff per area of a vision that you clear. So when you kill the main boss for the first time, you'll get 10% reduced sanity drain for the rest of your runs in that map. After you've cleared every zone or side objective, you'll get a 50% buff, and that's on top of your talent choices as well. You can track this by finding and hovering over your Steeled Mind buff, and you can see that after you fully clear the map, your sanity is going to drain 60% slower, which gives you so much more time in future Horrific Vision runs. So you want to prioritize clearing each area or zone at least once before trying for your full runs or mask runs. I would recommend clearing a different zone every time you go into a vision until you have cleared them all at least once to maximize your sanity drain buff. It's also important to note that this buff is specific to the Horrific Vision map for that week. So in the first week we have the Stormwind vision, but the second week will be the Ogrimmar vision, which has different zones, monsters, mini-bosses and bosses. So you'll have to clear each Ogrimmar zone at least once as well to get that buff built back up. So if you head into an Ogrimmar vision next week and your sanity is suddenly draining so much faster, this is probably why. Another way you can keep your sanity topped off is to pick up the potions scattered around your vision. There are 5 different types of potions. One will grant you 100 sanity when used, one will give you a fire breath mechanic, one heals you for 2% of your max health every 5 seconds, one reduces your damage taken by 5%, and then the last potion will actually drain 100 sanity, which is the only real bad potion out of the lot. The tricky part is that the potions are randomized each time you enter a vision, so the same color potion could do something entirely different the next run you do. Now obviously we want to avoid picking up those bad potions, but if the colors change each time we run a vision, how can we be sure we won't get that bad sanity potion? Well, at the start of your run you can find this dead NPC along with a little note, and there will always be a potion alongside it. That potion color is always the bad sanity potion, so if you check this potion at the start of each run, you will know exactly which potion you need to avoid. Now, while the potions are randomized each time you enter a vision, there are actually set patterns for what each potion does in a given set. So if your bad sanity potion is green, then your good sanity potion will always be red. Here's a little table from Wowhead showing you the various sets of colors. Now you can keep track of this for yourself in a note or whatever you want, or you can use an add-on or a weak aura. The weak aura I like to use is this one. I'll link it in the description below for you, and basically all you have to do is run up to the bad potion location, check the bad potion color, and click on that color on the weak aura. That's going to set this up to show you exactly what each colour potion will do for the rest of this run. At this point you can pick and choose which potions you want to spend the extra time to pick up, but I would always grab a good sanity potion whenever you see one. The weak aura also gives you another place to track your sanity if you need it, and it gives you a time remaining on the other 3 potion effects if you pick those up. Those 3 potions all have a negative effect when they expire. They usually CC you for a decent chunk of time, so if you do pick them up, you either want to keep them rolling by picking up more potions and extending the timer, or let them expire in a safe spot. Just another thing to keep in mind. Potions aren't the only way to get some powerful buffs. There are also various NPCs or small events that provide some big bonuses as well. You can get 10% buffs for haste or crit or damage done, or a 7% buff for versatility, so they're definitely worth picking up. Now, not every buff or special NPC is available or active in every run. I think there are 4 total, and you'll usually have 2 out of the 4, so you will need to do a quick check to see if the doors are open to the specific buildings where those NPCs are located, like the door to the Stormwind Bank, for example. If that's open, the 10% crit buff is available if you kill the Gold Elite inside, but if the bank is closed, well, you can spend your time doing something else. One of the best ways to track these potential buff locations is to install the Handynotes add-on and the Handynotes Battle for Azeroth plugin add-on. When you open your map, you'll have icons showing you exactly where everything is, including the various buffs that are available in that specific vision map. You can also see chest locations, crystal locations, hints for how to deal with specific mobs, and mailbox locations for the Mail Muncher mount. So if you want to collect everything available from the Horrific Vision system this time around, make sure you install the Handynotes add-on. I'll give you a link in the description to make it super easy for you. Another huge tip I have for you, especially if you're trying to do these visions solo, is to completely ignore the NPC follower. Right now, taking the construct into a vision with you massively scales up monster health and probably scales up their damage as well. Monsters are going to have up to twice the health just for having the NPC in your party, which is going to make your run significantly harder than if you just went in alone. The game is treating the NPC as a full party member, and I guarantee they're not going to provide anywhere near the same level of assistance. You would be much better off just picking up a random chap hanging around the portal area. The dev team may change the scaling or buff up the NPC, but until that happens, you will have a much easier time in Horrific Visions if you just pretend the NPC follower option didn't exist. One progression option that is a bit different from when Horrific Visions were first introduced are the tributes in the starting room with Rathian. All of these effects were in the old Visions, but they were unlocked in a different way. The tributes will power up as you complete objectives relating to them, so killing any monsters powers up Vision Hunter, while killing bosses will power up Experimental Destabilization. All of these tributes provide powerful buffs, like giving you some sanity when you kill elites. That little bit of extra sanity can actually extend your runs quite significantly, so you'll want to unlock these tributes as quickly as you can. Each tribute also has multiple levels, and the higher the percentage of the progress bar, the more powerful the buffs are going to be. So if you're struggling at any point in your Horrific Vision adventures, you can actually just keep spamming visions, killing monsters and elites and bosses to power up these tributes, and that should make your runs easier in the long run. So not everything is time gated, some of it just requires you to farm for a little bit. I guess this is also a good point to mention that you don't have any limits on how often or how many visions you can run. You can endlessly farm this stuff. If you're looking at any older content related to the first time Horrific Visions were introduced, you may come across some weekly requirements to enter the Horrific Vision. Those don't exist in this revisited version. You can run them as often as you want, which means you can try new things each run without having to worry about being locked out for that week or missing some rewards or anything like that. You can experiment with strategies, try different specializations, see how the visions play on your ults, and farm all this stuff as quickly as you want to. So don't be scared to spend a run just exploring, finding where the buffs are, where the potions are, whether or not the follower NPC is actually worth taking, and how much harder it makes your runs. All that good stuff. There are also a bunch of secrets scattered around the visions, so you can take your time hunting those down as well without having to worry about actually finishing that run in time. It's also important to note that you don't have to kill everything, especially if you aren't specifically focusing on farming the Corrupted Mementos currency yet. Most objectives don't require you to kill every monster, and if you're trying to unlock certain progression milestones, like unlocking your first mask, skipping monsters could give you the extra time that you need to get that full clear under your belt. Now, if you do want to kill all of the monsters, either because you want the currency or you want to power up that specific tribute, line of sight and AoE are going to be your best friends. Taking out one monster at a time, or even one pack of monsters at a time, can be very inefficient, and there are quite a lot of casters and ranged mobs scattered throughout the map too, so being able to tag them, break line of sight as quickly as you can to prevent incoming damage or spell casts, and then gathering everything up inside a little building or around a corner can let you nuke everything down at once. What would take you a few minutes if you go pack by pack could take 30 seconds, and you can clear entire zones worth of monsters all at the same time. Now, this does introduce an element of danger though. You're going to have to dodge more abilities and be careful about getting hit, but if you save your cooldowns, you should be able to burst everything down almost no matter what class or spec you are playing. The real trick is getting everything gathered up neatly, but with there being no limits to how often you can run Horrific Visions, you can practice this as much as you want. You don't have to pull everything in a zone all at once either. Even grouping 2 to 3 packs together can save you a lot of time and let you get more out of your cooldowns. I would also encourage you to always check the map before you head in, especially when a new week rolls around. Each week the map will rotate, so we started with Stormwind and then the second week will be Orgrimmar. Each map has different bosses, objectives, and obviously a different layout, so checking which map is active will be important so you know which route you might want to take. This might seem super obvious right now, but in a few weeks' time and you come back to this feature, you may have lost track of which map is coming up next, especially if you aren't playing constantly. So that's a nice way to get a quick refresher, but the negative effects or affixes in each zone will also change week to week. So the next time we see Stormwind, we'll probably have different madnesses active in each zone. The madnesses will change how you approach routes and objectives, so it's important to know which ones you're dealing with before you start your run. And if you have the Handynotes weak aura installed, you can check the location of things on this preview map as well. So you don't have to go into the vision and stand around trying to find the buff or chest or crystal that you're after. You can do all of that prep work in the starting area instead. After you've gotten a full clear done, you're going to earn your first mask. Now, to get other masks, you'll have to complete objectives or special tasks with a mask enabled, but the very first mask you get is actually one of the harder ones to deal with. It cuts your sanity bar in half, so it just gives you about half the time to work with, which is incredibly punishing. So you're going to want to get a much easier mask fairly quickly so we can ignore the Mask of Long Night as long as possible. One of the easiest masks to deal with is the Mask of Pained Imagination. This one just periodically spawns an extra mob when you're below 50% sanity. To get this mask, you'll need to clear the Mage Quarter with a mask equipped. So use the Mask of Long Night and just focus on clearing the Mage Quarter for your next run. Get this new easy mask and you can use that mask to unlock everything else. And then to wrap up this video, I've got a quick tip for Stormwind specifically. The pesky Toymaker that you've probably found wandering around outside the trade district is actually really easy to deal with. All you have to do is CC the shield bot and kill the Toymaker away from it, or you can drop a toy on the floor like the toy train set, and when the Toymaker walks near it, he will stop and admire it for a moment, giving you time to pull the shield bot away and kill it quickly. Then you can go back and finish off the Toymaker. Now, the last thing I wanted to say in this video is that you don't have to stress about clearing everything in this first week. The Horrific Visions should be available until at least the end of Season 2, and every week that goes by, things are going to get much easier. Next week, we'll get another row of talents to unlock that further increase your character power and reduce the effectiveness of various negative aspects of the visions, like sanity drain or just flat damage taken. In the third week, everything in the talent tree should become available, which includes some huge buffs down at the bottom, including a free revive the first time you die. We'll also get a break from Stormwind next week, and the vision map will be for Orgrimmar instead. Now, I remember Orgrimmar being significantly easier when compared to Stormwind. All the objectives in Stormwind take longer and have more busy work, and the bosses themselves are harder in my opinion. So I think it'll be interesting to see how players take to the Orgrimmar map next week, especially when you take those extra talents into consideration. Just know that this system will be around for a while, it's going to get easier as the weeks go by, and if you're struggling to get a full clear or a mask clear or whatever it may be, those extra boosts will help you get across the finish line without having to bash your head against horrific visions all week. But that's all of our tips and tricks to help you clear horrific visions in patch 11.15 a little bit easier and faster, so that's it for this video. Are there any tips in this list that really helped you out in your next run, and are there any tips you'd like to share that weren't included in this list? Leave all your thoughts in the comment section below. A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon and to all of our members here on YouTube. You can see the names floating by on screen. If you're interested in supporting the channel, you can find links in the description or click the join button just below the video. If you enjoyed the video or found it useful in any way, make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you're always kept up to date. Thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always I will see you next time.